when you need a change. Promise that I'll never keep you waiting. Ain't nobody gonna do the same. I'm always here for you. Cold heart, she left you all alone. Brand new start, you're on your own. Cold heart, she left you all alone. Brand new start, you're on your own. She's a cold heart. She's a cold heart. You know all you gotta do is ask. I'ma be the one who's gonna last. Long as we ain't moving too fast. I need to get a grasp. Baby boy, I know it's been hard. The way she left you here in the dark. But I'm gonna save that spark. Yeah, I'm gonna save that spark. Cold heart, she left you all alone. Brand new start, you're on your own. Cold heart, she left you all alone. Brand new start, you're on your own. She's a cold heart. Hey, yeah. Ooh. Cold heart. She's a cold heart. Cold heart. Cold heart. Cold heart.